What is cooking good lookings? Today is day 18. We're going to be obviously talking about phone setting now, right? So DM setting is one of the paths you can do as an appointment setter. But over the phone setting is a lot of fun. And I'll quickly say why I prefer phone setting personally. It's because in the DMs, you've got to wait for like back and forth, right? People can, get booked in over like a week or 2 weeks or even a month because they're that slow to replying to DMs. Whereas over the phone, you get a pickup from them, you book them in. It's super, super simple. So today I'm going to walk you through what a high performing phone setting conversation looks like from the intro to qualification to booking the call, step by step. Okay, so by the end, you'll have the full framework, right, that you can start using, even if you've never done a sales call in your life. So, what is the goal of a phone setting call? Well, it's pretty simple. 3 things. Are they a good fit for the offer? Do they have a clear goal? And are they open for the next step, right? If yes, you book the call with the closer, and that is it. The whole call should take no longer than 5 to 10 minutes, right? Because you're not selling, you are simply just sorting stuff out, right? So this framework is very simple. Obviously, you follow similar like do's and don'ts from that I mentioned before in DM setting, like keeping it conversational, don't ask too many questions back to back to back, like reply to what they're saying, actually like listen to what they're saying and be curious, as well as that with phone setting where obviously the skill comes in is it allows you to start working on your tonality already. So tone in sales is extremely important. We'll talk about tonality in more depth. In my opinion, tonality, it will naturally shine through when you are kind of actually interested in what you're selling and interested in helping the people solve the problems that they have with your solution. So if you actually want to help people, you will have a good tone. However, there are culture differences, right? So there was like a study done that like if you're like, for example, in the West versus the East, there's different like tones and ranges of like vocals. So it can be sometimes hard for some people to sound curious or some people to sound like happy, sad, angry, whatever. There are like varying, cultures out there, and they talk differently and they approach things differently. So, yeah, over the phone, your tone is going to play a massive part, and I'll walk you through a little bit, a couple different kind of tones to basically be aware of and to kind of implement, right? So, going into it, you call them, they pick up. The tone for the literal first part of the call, right? You say, "Hey, John, it's Nico with Enigma." Like, for example, my company, it's Nico with Enigma Collective. How are you doing today? Right? Now, you could say it like that, and you'll probably get, a response that most people give when they get a call from someone they aren't expecting a call from. It's like, what? Like, who are you? What are you doing? Like, they instantly put their guard up, right? Like what we were talking about in the DM appointment setting, you want to create pattern interrupts, right? So a great pattern interrupt, you can use your tone to sound confused, right? You're giving someone a call and you sound confused calling them, they are going to be a bit like, what? What's going on here? Like, they're hooked in now. They're curious. They're like, why are you confused? If anything, I should be confused. Like, now I'm curious as to why you're confused. Like, I'm willing to give you the time, right? And you might be like, what? That doesn't work. It does. It's psychology, okay? So, pretty much what you need to envision is when you're starting the call, imagine you're at a table and there's pieces of paper everywhere, and each piece of paper has all these names on it, and you are looking for the name of the person you are speaking with, right? So, hey, is this John? And then they're like, yes. Oh, hey, John, it's Nico with Enigma Collective. How are you doing today? And they're like, what's Enigma Collective? What's this? But now you're in, right? Now they're actually in the conversation, whatever. They might know your company, they might not. It depends on the person. But let's say they say, who's this? Be like, totally just reaching out from, the Enigma Collective team. I saw that you checked out our advertisement regarding like high ticket sales. and I figured I'd, check in with you, make sure that you had the training that you were looking for, make sure you got through that, and also provide you with some more resources so that you can, make money online quicker. You got 5 minutes, or is now a bad time, right? This works really well because it's casual, it's respectful, it's not pushy, right? And it sets the tone for the call. You know what you're doing, you know why you're calling them, and you're leading with value as well, right? You're calling to see how they are doing with the training that they requested. You are also offering to provide them with more training. This doesn't sound like a sales call. This sounds like you're trying to help them, and that is what you are trying to do. You are just trying to help them solve their problem, right? So you offer the free training, you offer all of the stuff. They'll be very interested. If now is not a good time, you say, okay, not a problem. Does later today at 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. work better for you? Give them two options, right? You never say, oh, so like when works better for you? You are always in control. You are always the authority in sales. So it's important to remember that you're leading the conversation where you want it to go. You always give people options. You don't let people decide for themselves. Because if you do, then people are indecisive. You could wait like a whole week. You'll be like, oh, call me next week. I'm super busy at the moment, right? No, you're not. It's a 5-minute conversation. You have time for this, okay? So let's say they're like, yep, cool. That sounds good. So basically what you say is, okay, amazing. So here's what I want to do. Like, if you're cool with it, I just want to ask you a couple questions to get some context on really where you're at. And if it sounds like we can help, I'll show you what next steps could look like. Sound fair? Cool. Amazing. This sets the expectations. It lowers their resistance. It creates that cooperation that we're looking for. This is us cooperating with one another to basically get them their goals. Simple, right? And pretty much the discovery, the qualification is very much like the DM setting, right? You are pretty much just asking them those questions. Where are you at right now? What's the goal, right? What do you feel like is your biggest challenge? How are you trying to solve it right now? If we could help you hit that goal, like, would you be interested, right? And this is literally all that you do, right? Again, the tone you want is curiosity here. You want to lead with a curious tone. And the way that you lead with curiosity is really, naturally, is just be interested in other people, right? Like I said, I believe tone comes out naturally when you are actually there to help someone, which is why it's so important that you sell something that you actually care about. Now, if for some reason that is not the case, because you're just focused on making money, the way to kind of have a curious tone is to kind of just think of it like you're like rubbing your chin and you're just like asking like a question, right? That is kind of what you want to picture when you are doing that. So, yeah. During this point, we're pulling out the pain, we're pulling out the vision that they want, we're identifying gaps. They are identifying gaps in themselves. Sorry, that's the coffee machine back there. But yeah, you're not pitching anything. You are literally just asking questions. You're curious, right? And this is where the money happens, the magic happens. Because, again, they signed up for the training. They have a problem. You solve the problem. Obviously, the questions that you're asking, they are going to have the problem that you solve. But it is important that you ask the questions anyway, because one, you need to create that commitment from them so they join the call. And secondly, they need to hear themselves talking about their problems and their solutions, because their words matter a lot more to them than yours do, right? So you can't just tell them how they're feeling. They need to tell themselves how they're feeling and how they don't like being where they are and how they don't enjoy their job and how they want to be here instead and all of that stuff. In a second, thank you though. And yeah, it's pretty much that simple. And then from there, an important, like I said, like tip, you want to kind of reflect what they're saying throughout that point, right? Mirror back what they're talking about. This creates a bit of clarity for them. It's looping. You're mirroring that. Like loop back what they say, mention it again. It will build some trust, right? So, for example, okay, so you're doing about like 2K a month right now in your lifeguarding job. I mean, the goal is 10K a month by the end of the year, right? Okay, so I guess making that 10K a month, like what does that allow you to do that you can't really do right now? Now you're building a bit of a vision, you're building that picture, okay? So once you do all of these questions, pretty much, like I said, the way the content and the ads and everything are set up, it just makes it very easy for you. You're speaking to people who have the problem that you solve. So all that you need to do is simply book them in at this point, right? As long as they're qualified, as long as they are someone that you can help, and as long as they are having like the financial capabilities, they work a job, their business, for example, makes enough money for you, for your business to help theirs, whatever it is, right? It obviously depends on like how much, like what you're selling is, right? So if what you're selling is 100 grand, then the financial qualification is extremely important. But if what you're selling is 5 grand, okay, we can, be a bit more flexible there. And you don't need to be so intense with the financial qualification. People obviously don't want to be sharing a lot about their financial situations to people they've just met online, so it's pretty normal. So yeah, don't worry too much about that, especially if it's like 5K. And then pretty much you basically just want to confirm, you want to get them on a call. So basically say, based on what you've told me, I feel like you'd be a solid fit for building an action plan with our team. So what I suggest is we get you on a call with one of our partners or one of our coaches, who will basically put a game plan together custom to you. And they'll walk you through like how it can apply to your situation and how we can help you hit that desired situation. You insert the desired situation. You don't say desired situation. You say, sound good? Cool. They'll say yes. Then over the phone, you obviously don't send them the link. You click the link yourself and you book them in, right? So this is what I was saying earlier about the two options. So you say, okay, what works better, tomorrow or the day after? So I'm recording this on a Friday. So what works better, Saturday or Sunday? They'll say one of them. Okay, in the morning or in the evening? Okay, perfect. I have these times, right? And that's how you book them in. And then, okay, I've got you in with the closer's name, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, you just book them in, right? You send the invite, you get them to accept it. You get them to confirm they have the meeting link. You get them to put it in their calendar, because this is super important. We want them to show up to the call, right? So if they don't have the link and it's not in their calendar, they're probably not going to show up. So it's important that we get it in their calendar. Now, you might be asking, Nico, what if I call someone and they're not financially qualified? Well, what you do here is you basically just say to them, right? Or what if they're not qualified in terms of they're not necessarily someone we help yet at the moment? You basically just be real with them, right? You say like, look, like just being real, I don't feel like right now this would be the best fit. Like just for transparency, like we're a program that ranges anywhere from 5 to 20 grand. So timing might not be the best right now. We've had a lot of people circle back when things line up a little bit better. Obviously, you tell me if I've got that wrong, whatever, right? And you basically want to just be honest with them. You don't want to waste their time. It's important that you do it in this way, where you're honest, because that builds trust. Respect is also key. And what this will also do is it protects the calendar. You don't want crap calls in the calendar, right? It will also keep the person you've spoken to warm, right? You can send them some content to watch and then like call them again a month later, see how they're doing, right? You would basically, like I said, you go into like your CRM. We've spoken about a day in the life of a setter. You have like a CRM as a phone setter, and you basically can like organize things, set yourself reminders in that. It's pretty neat and pretty solid. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. The thing with obviously practicing the phone setting, you do ideally need someone to practice with. So you can try it with a friend, family. You can try it with someone in the community. But yeah, it's important that you are, you're not trying to be slick, and you're not being slick by any means. You're listening, and you are sorting out things. You're not objection handling. You're inviting people into a conversation that could change their life, right? It's imperative that you remember that. You have the ability to change people's lives, right? You're not selling. You're just curious. You're asking questions, and you're connecting people with the solution to their problems, okay? So that's it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.